Hello everyone. Hope everyone is doing great today. My name is Rajarao Vashnapalli. Today I want to talk about two techniques of the Toyota way. So let's get started. Add value is one of the finest technique used by the Toyota production system to minimize the waste. So what is mean by add value? Add value is the activity which adds value to the work or process by minimizing the non-value added activities like machine idle time or machine downtime or increasing the inventory levels. These are all such kind of non-value added activities. So added value is the technique which adds value to the work and minimizing the non-value added activities. To be get clear, added value must change the product, making it closer to the end product that customer wants to pay. So added value is the value that customer wants to pay for it, not for the non-value added activities. So the main motto is to increase the added value for the product and minimize the non-value added price. So added value work equal to price that the product or service sold at minus cost of the product, cost of producing the product. So what are the steps to add value to the product? So what makes the product or process of add value? Let's see. Minimizing the waste. It is one of the greatest add value to the process. If you minimize the waste, it's going to be a good add value for the process. After that, offering better quality to your customers. Offering better quality for your customer is also a great add value for the product. Increasing your delivery speed, minimizing the time at the inventories. I mean, a lot of buffering at the inventory process. So we need to decrease that blocking speed, blocking time, and increasing the delivery speed. And next, providing additional expert advice for your customers. Expert advice. Customers is seeking for any advice. We need to make sure that we need to provide some additional expert advice for your customer. So it is one of the add value to the product. Improving your product design and packaging. It involves a greater varieties of the product. So if you provide some good varieties, some different varieties, not sticking for the one variety, if you provide a lot of varieties, design is going to be one of the add value for your product. Providing flexibility to varieties, that one. Providing if the customer is want to customize their product, if your plant layout is flexible to produce such kind of varieties, so that's going to be a great add value for your product. Improving customer service, not only providing their products, but we need to service their products timely manner. Improving the customer service also gains a lot of attraction to the market and get a good add value to the product. Add value to the organization by developing your people and partners. So motivating your people, motivating the partners, motivating the employee in the organization, which simultaneously add value to your product. So now let's see what are the non-value added works for the product or for the company. First one is overproduction. Increasing the inventory stocks is is very non-value added work. So we need to make sure, based upon the demand, we need to supply, not produce excessively. And the next one is waiting at before the process, I mean before the manufacturing process, stocking, buffering at in front of one machine and it's getting delayed. So if any machine idle time or downtime, it leads to have more buffering it in front of the departments and in front of the machines. So it is non-value added work. So the customer doesn't want to pay for the machine downtime, for machine crash time. So it is one of the non-value added work. So the TPS, the Toyota production system is really working hard to minimize non-value added works and maximize value added works. And the next non-value added work is unnecessary transport or convenience. Unnecessary moving the products from one department to another department. It consumes a lot of energy, so it is one of the non-value added work. Over processing a product or incorrect processing is also one of the non-value added works. Excess inventory, it's one of the greatest non-value added work. TPS had given his much contribution to minimize its inventory levels. They want to be optimistic with the market demand. And the next one is unnecessary movement between the products, and the next one is the defects. So they want to build a product without defects. And the next one is the last non-value added work is unused employee creativity. So the thing is, we need to use all employee creativity. We should not degrade any employee. We need to use all the employee creativity. We need to give chance to every employee to work collaboratively. Even the shop floor or down floor employee also need to give some suggestions to improve the process, because he is dynamically working with the shop floor environment, so he know the realistic problems what is going to be encountered. So the layman and the shop floorman can also use their creativity to improve the process. So these are all the non-value added works. So TPS want to minimize this non-value added works and want to maximize the non-value added works. So TPS have a add value pyramid structure. It's something like this. It has some different levels of technique, something like philosophy in the base, next followed by the process, next followed by the people and partners, and the next one is the problem solving is the tip and apex of the pyramid. So by collaboratively working with such kind of process, philosophy, people and partners, problem solving, which makes TPS a very good added value for the product and for the process. So philosophy, the TPS have a very good moral and philosophy values, like something like respecting the people, respecting the values of the customer, respecting the values of the product. So base management decisions on a long-term philosophy. So process is something like using such different kind of process which secures the TPS ideology, something like creating process flow using pull system. So when it is needed, when the product is needed, using pull system is something like in a grocery store, pulling a product what is needed based upon that level of that product, the store manager will fill it back into the rack. So filling the product when it is needed is something like pull system. Leveling out the workload, stop the line, standard task using visual control, using only tested and thorough reliable technology. These are all such kind of process it uses. So people and partners is the next level. Grow leaders, respect, develop and challenge your people. Respect, develop and challenge your suppliers as well. So problem solving, it's one of the tip of the pyramid. I mean, tip of the TPS. Continuous organization, see for yourself, making decisions, these are all the problem solving and problem sorting techniques. So this is the very well defined structure of the TPS. let's see one of the quote text by the founder. So Tiachi Ono, founder of TPS, said it even more succinctly. All we are doing is looking at the timeline from the moment the customer gives us an order to the point when we collect the cash, and we are reducing the timeline by removing the non-value added wastes. So this is one of the text given by the founder. Let's see one of the example of industry which uses added value and non-value added time. So let's see one example. So the screen which is seeing on the right of your desk, it shows some of the manufacturing process of a steel roll nut. Have some different manufacturing procedures, something like figure shows the chain of process to get finished product. So this is all the chain of process to get the finished product, that is of nut, of a steel nut, of the manufacturing product layout. Um, so what are the process involved to get the finished product? Something like casting, transportation, machining, inspection, assembly, and staging. So these are all the consecutive steps to get the finished product. So most of the time is wasted between the process. If you see in the diagram, the shaded region is the value added time, and the one which is clear is the non value added time, which is the waste. So the customer doesn't want to pay for the non value added time. The customer want to pay for only value added time. So here in the total process layout, I mean plant layout, there is much non-value added time than the value added time. So TPS is saying something like to decrease the non-value added time and increase the value added time. So what we need to use to increase the value added time? Using some different tools like just in time, single flow, distributing the workload. These are all the techniques to minimize the non-value added time and increase the value added time. So for this process, the percentage of value added is ranging from 0.008 to 2 to 3. It's almost low. So it has most of the non-value added task than the value added task. So there is a much chances to get losses for the market. So TPS is saying to minimize the non-value added and increase the value added time. So now let's see the principle of TPS, one of the principle of the TPS, that is use of only reliable, thoroughly tested technology that serves your people and process. This figure shows focus on your business, leave your information technology to reliable technological services. So the Toyota way is to move slowly because more than one technology has failed to meet their acid test of supporting people, process, and values, and has been ranked in the favor of simpler manual systems. Toyota is still following this policy in the age of digital technology. Though Toyota does not lead the industry in acquiring technology, it is globally benchmark on how to use value-added technology that supports the appropriate process and people. At Toyota, new technology is introduced only after it is proven out through direct experimentation without the involvement of a broad cross section of people. This does not include new or cutting edge technology. This does not exclude new or cutting edge technology. It means the technology has been thoroughly evaluated and tested to ensure it provides added value. Before adapting new technology, Toyota will go great lengths to analyze the impact it may have on existing process. First, it will go and see firsthand the nature of the value added work being performed by the workers for the particular process. It will look for new opportunities to eliminate waste and even out the flow. Toyota will then use a pilot area to improve the process with the existing equipment, technology, and people. When it has accomplished as much improve as possible with the present process, then Toyota will ask again if it can make any additional improvements by adding the new technology. If it determines that the new technology can add value to the process, the technology is then carefully analyzed to see if it conflicts with the Toyota philosophy and operating principles. These include principles of valuing people over technology, using consensus decision making, and an operational focus of waste elimination. If the technology violates these principles, if the technology violates uh, these principles, then and operating of waste elimination. If the technology violates these principles, or if there is any chance it may adversely disrupt stability, reliability, and flexibility, Toyota will reject that technology. The important principle is to find ways to support the actual process while not distracting the people from the value added work. Toyota will typically implement to the new technology smoothly without the employee resistance and the process disruption that other companies often experience. So let's see the synopsis for the principle 8. So what is the main synopsis for that principle using the reliable technology to support the people? What is the synopsis for that principle? Using technology to support the people, not to replace the people. Often it is best to work out a process manually before adding technology to support the process. It's almost prefer to process manually before adding technology. The next one is new technology is often unreliable and difficult to standardize and therefore endangers flow. A proven process that works generally taken precedence over new and untested technology. The next one is conduct actual tests before adopting new technology in business process, manufacturing systems or products. Reject or modify technology that conflicts with your culture or that might disrupt stability, reliability, and predictability. Nevertheless, encourage your people to consider new technology when looking into new approaches to work. Quickly implement a thoroughly considered technology if it has been proven in trials and it can improve flow in your process. So let's see one of the example of Toyota plant with acquiring new technology. At one stage, Toyota plant acquired new technology. So 10 years ago in Toyota Chicago Parts Distribution Center, where the company installed a highly automated rotary rack system. The images what you're seeing behind the PPT is an automatic rotary rack system. So at the time the warehouse was built, Toyota dealers placed weekly stock orders for parts. But soon after the warehouse was completed, the company implemented daily ordering and daily deliveries to reduce lead time and low inventories in the dealerships. So when the process changed from 5 day to a 1 day shipment cycle, the equipment was inflexible and suddenly outdated. So, because the fixed conveyor length was designed for larger orders, so the smaller daily orders should have filled the smaller boxes much faster than the larger 5 day boxes of parts. But the person at the end of the conveyor still had to wait for the parts to come down this long conveyor. So the person spent a great deal of time waiting. One of the eight wastes went a lot of time, so it is one of the greatest non value added work. So after that, The benefit of the technology was short-lived, and Chicago facility became one of the Toyota's least productive warehouses. In 2002, the company again made a significant investment in Chicago, but this time it was to remove the automation and invent the computer system that supported it. So let's see few quotes of Bisada. When you live in the logistic world, nothing moves without information, but we are conservative in our approach to applying automation. Your Kaizen people process very easily, but it is hard to Kaizen a machine. Our process got far more productive and efficient, but the machine didn't. So the machine had to come out. From the warehouse person perspective, sitting and looking into a complete computer screen doesn't tell you everything you need to know. You have to have a feel for the size of the parts and the real situation in the warehouse. The computer recommends an inventory level to the procurement analyst, but it can't tell him if the inventory will make life though for the person on the warehouse floor because there isn't enough space to store it. The next one is first work out the manual process and then automate it. Try to build into the system as much flexibility as you possible can so you can automate to Kaizen the process as your business changes, and always supplement the system information with Kenshi Genbutsu or go look, go see. So the image what was it was displaying on the screen shows something like skylift for the vehicle. So the Toyota use some different technique for that. It has adopted one technology in order to be flexible to the requirements. So let's see it. The role of technology adapting it appropriately. So what kind of technology it adopts? So in industry today, the watchword is flexibility. Everyone wants to be as flexible as possible, and Toyota is no exception for that. Originally, what allowed Toyota to compete with global player was its flexibility. Toyota flexibility does not mean pushing the latest and greatest technology onto the operation and struggling to make it work. The Toyota follows Toyota way, that is, use only reliable, thoroughly tested technology that serves your people and process. Again, testing involves both existing technology and new or cutting edge technology that Toyota has thoroughly evaluated and piloted to prove that it works. So let's take one example of this in the body shop where the automotive body is welded together. That this has been one of the few places for years where a lot of robotics is used and with great success, but it is also the place the most limits flexibility in making cars. Ultimately, all the large panels that make up vehicle must be held in place and welded together just right. There are complex fixtures that hold the parts of the body in place. Originally, these fixtures were specific to a particular car body. So to produce a different car body required changing all of fixtures manually, which took weeks of hard work. Flexible body shops were a major innovation that allowed multiple car bodies to made in the same shop, and this also allowed for a much more rapid changeover from a years model to the new model. Toyota eventually learned to do this without stopping the line called running change in the industry. So Toyota's body shop still was not very flexible because it is used very expensive pallets that were designed to hold the body parts in place for different cars. For example, there would a Camry palette and an Avalon palette, and you could not change the mix of Camry and Avalons that could run. Example, going from 70% Camry to 80% Camry without building new palettes and changing the mix of palettes, an expensive and time consuming proposition. So now instead of car body riding on a customer pallet, it is being held in place by robots that can be programmed for each car body. The bodies ride or something like Skylift. The image what was showing on right of your PPT is something like Skylift. The earlier pallet system held the body together from the outside in and had fixtures sized and positioned differently for each vehicle. So the new system has programmable fixturing device that holds the parts together from the inside out, a radical new concept that improves flexibility and it takes up half the space. So Toyota calls this new global standard the Blue Sky system. This is the new Blue Sky system. It was implemented by the TPS in order to meet its flexible pallet requirements. So finally, I want to conclude that Toyota also adopts to the newer technology, but until and unless it is not proven or thoroughly tested technology, it doesn't want to approve it. So Toyota uses and acquires new technology until it serves people and process. Thanks for your time. Thanks for everyone. Thank you. Hope a great day for you.